Hey guys, I'm here. And today we will be reading your scary stories. Our first story is from a user. 4 friends dared each other to go to the most haunted place in their school, which just so happened to be the old abandoned elementary school down the street. They had heard rumors of the school being haunted for years and had all agreed that the stories were, most likely, just made up by some bored kids with overactive imaginations. But still none of them had ever gone to the school after dark, and all of them had agreed that if any of them even so much as laid a finger on the door, then they'd all turn back and run like hell. As they walked past the old school, they began hearing whispers coming from inside. At first it was unintelligible, just a bunch of random hushed voices. Then it started getting louder and more clear. Come in, join us." As they got closer to the front door, the whispering reached a fever pitch. "Come in, join us in room 13. The 4 friends stopped dead in their tracks. None of them had planned on going this far, but the whispers seemed to be coming from right behind the door. One of them slowly reached out his hand and pushed it open. They stepped inside, and the whispering stopped. As their eyes adjusted to the darkness, they could see that all of the desks were neatly arranged as if a class had just been dismissed. All of the chairs were also in their proper places, and there wasn't a single book or paper out of place. The only thing that was different was the fact that the students were still sitting at their desks. They were all turned to the front of the classroom, as if they had just been listening to their teacher. The students were all pale, and their clothes looked very old-fashioned. Some of them even had what appeared to be 1950s-style dresses on. The 4 friends stood frozen in fear as they stared at the ghostly students. Suddenly, one of the boys stepped forward and reached out to try and touch one of the desks. As soon as his fingers made contact, all the ghostly students turned their heads and stared directly at him. Their eyes were soulless and black. The boy screamed and stumbled backwards, knocking over one of the desks. The clattering noise seemed to echo through the entire school. As the other 3 friends stared in horror at the boy, who now had an audience of ghosts sitting behind him, they heard footsteps coming from the back of the classroom. They all turned and watched as a terrifying ghost of a teacher slammed his hand on the blackboard. The chalkboard was old, and the metal frame that held it creaked ominously as the teacher approached them. His face was pale, and his eyes were filled with an otherworldly light. He wore a 1950s-style suit, and his hair was slicked back as if he had just walked off the set of a black and white movie. The ghost teacher stopped in front of them and stared directly at the boy who had touched one of the desks. "Care to explain why my students are out of their seats?" he asked in a voice that sounded like nails on a chalkboard. The boy stammered and tried to apologize, but the ghost teacher cut him off. "There's no reason for you to be here. This class is not over. You have to stay." The ghost then turned to the rest of the group. "And you will join him," he said, gesturing to the boy who was now cowering on the ground. "We will be here all night and you can't leave until morning." The other 3 friends screamed and ran for the door, but it was no use. The ghost teacher was faster than them, and he blocked their way. They were trapped in the school, and they knew that if they didn't do something fast, they would be stuck there forever. The last thing they remembered was the ghost teacher grabbing one of the girls and dragging her towards the nearest desk. As the other 3 friends watched in horror, she turned into the ghost of a student and sat down in the chair as if nothing had happened. They just walked into a class that never ended.